The washing of the dead. 528 IT is recommended that the dead be washed, shrouded, and prepared as soon as possible, and then placed in their graves. For this purpose, the deceased is first placed on a wooden bench called a TENEŞIR, lying on their back with their feet facing the QIBLA. The area around the TENEŞIR is incensed 3, 5, or 7 times with something that smells pleasant. The private parts, from the navel to below, the knees are covered with a cloth, and all clothing is removed. 529. The male or female person performing the ritual washing must intend to fulfill the obligatory washing duty and begin with the Basmala. Until the washing is complete, they must say, GUFRANEKE YA RAHMAN, equals, O merciful Lord, I seek your forgiveness. The washer takes a cloth in their hand and cleans the deceased's private parts from under the sheet. Then, beginning the abstinence ritual, they first wash the deceased's face. They do not pour water into the mouth or nose. However, they wipe the inside and outside of the lips, the nostrils, and the navel as thoroughly as possible using a finger or a cloth wrapped around the finger. Then wash the hands and arms. According to the correct opinion, the head is also rubbed, and the feet are washed immediately without delay. In this way, WUDU is performed. When a child who is too young to understand what prayer is dies, this type of ablution is not performed for them. 530. Once the ritual ablution of the deceased is complete, lukewarm, fresh water is poured over the body. Without combing the hair or beard, the body is washed using a fragrant herb known as hatmi, if available, or soap if not. The body is then turned on its left side, and the right side is washed once. In this manner, both the right and left sides are washed 3 times each. It may be washed more if possible, but there should be no waste. After this, the body is gently lifted. During this lifting, the body is supported against the washer's chest, hand, or knee. Then the abdomen is gently rubbed. If anything comes out, it is washed away with water. There is no need to perform abstinence again or wash the entire body. However, for a deceased person who is swollen and on the verge of disintegration, it is sufficient to simply pour water over them. It is not necessary to perform abstinence or wash them 3 times. 531. The deceased's hair and nails are not cut. If they have not been circumcised, they are not circumcised. Cotton is not used. When washing the body, after washing, the body is dried with a towel or similar item. Then, the shroud shirt is put on, and the remaining shroud is spread out. Hanat, a substance such as camphor or a similar fragrant substance, is placed on the head and beard. Camphor is also placed on the forehead, nose, hands, knees, and feet, the areas where one prostrates. 532. The place where the deceased is to be washed must be private. No one other than the washer and their assistant should see them. A deceased person should be washed by the person closest to them or by a trustworthy, pious individual. This washing must be done without payment, as it is a religious duty. Thus, if no one else is available to perform the washing, it is not permissible for the person performing it to charge a fee. However, if there are others who can perform the washing, then a fee may be charged. 533. A male should wash a male deceased, and a female should wash a female deceased. Those performing the washing must be in a state of ritual purity. It is disliked for them to be in a state of janaba, menstruation, or postpartum blooding, or for the washer to be a non-Muslim. However, if nitrogen monoxide other man is available to wash a Muslim man except a non-Muslim, or nitrogen monoxide other woman is available to wash a Muslim woman except a non-Muslim woman, then they may perform the washing. 534a. Woman may wash her deceased husband. This is because the woman will observe the iddat period. Until this period has passed, the marriage is considered to be in effect. However, a man may not wash his deceased wife because a man is not required to observe a waiting period. When his wife dies, the marital bond between them is dissolved. However, if nitrogen monoxide woman is available to wash her, the husband performs tayammum for his wife. According to 3 Imams, it is also permissible for the husband to wash his wife. 535. If a woman who has died among men has a moram, this moram performs tayammum for her with his hand. If she has nitrogen monoxide male relative, a stranger must perform ablution for her by holding a cloth in his hand and closing his eyes. 536. When water is unavailable, ablution is sufficient. If water becomes available after tayammum has been performed and the funeral prayer has been offered, the body is washed again. Regarding whether the prayer should be repeated, Imam Abu Yusuf has 2 opinions. 537a. Girl who has not yet reached puberty, not yet pubescent. Just as a man may wash a girl who has not yet reached puberty, a woman may wash a boy who has not yet reached puberty. 538. There is no difference between a man whose genitalia have been removed or whose testicles have been removed and a man with intact genitalia. Men may also wash such individuals. 539a. Muslim who is drowned is washed by moving the body 3 times in the water with the intention of washing. Merely having remained in the water does not exempt living Muslims from the obligation to perform the ritual washing of the deceased. 540. When a non-Muslim who is a relative or spouse of a Muslim dies, the body is handed over to their fellow believers. If they are not handed over, the body is washed without following the sunnah and buried wrapped in a shroud. The procedures performed for believers, as explained above, and not applied in this case. 541. If a deceased Muslim has no guardian among his relatives other than a non-Muslim, his body is not handed over to non-Muslims, because all duties related to the preparation and burial of the deceased are collective. Obligation, farz al-kifaya, upon Muslims. 542. A child who dies is buried, wrapped in a piece of cloth. There is no need to wash the body. 543 ampere. Person whose gender cannot be determined, referred to as a Hunsa-i-Makil, is given ablution, tayammum, upon death. They are not washed. For the purpose of shrouding, they are considered a woman. 544. If the body of a deceased Muslim is found, with most of the body and the head, it is washed. It is shrouded, and funeral prayer is performed. However, if only half of the tauji body is present without the head, or if most of the torso is missing, it is not washed, not shrouded, and prayer is not performed over it. It is buried wrapped in a cloth. 545 ONC, wrapped in a shroud, any fluid or similar substances that may emanate from the dead. Body or nitrogen monoxide longer washed.